that Caitlin Clark is on the team. And again, is there like an actual confirmation about this? No. Will there be an actual confirmation when the team is announced? No. But we have to put a huge but in here. 2K literally, or not 2K, Jesus, FIBA literally have posted USA Basketball's next chapter, Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers.
FIBA just made it official. Not with a press release, not with a formal announcement, but with a social media post that basically confirmed what everyone's been speculating about for weeks. USA Basketball's next chapter features Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers. And when a major sportswear brand puts their marketing muscle behind two specific names like that, you better believe those players are locked in for the qualifying tournament in San Juan, Puerto Rico. March, that's less than 3 weeks away, which is absolutely mental when you think about how fast this is coming together.
You're probably going to bring your young players. Because again, Caitlin needs those reps. She'll want to play. Paige will want to play. Will absolutely want to play. Because this is right after Unrivaled. And the young players want to play. Angel Reese needs to get those reps coming into the season. Like, I think there is a stage where there are players that may drop out. I don't think any of the players that weren't at the camp will want to play. I don't think Sabrina will want to play. I don't think AJ will want to play. Fee's obviously injured. I don't think Stewie's going to want to play.
Here's what makes this roster strategy so obvious. Qualifying tournaments are almost never where you bring your absolute best lineup. Team USA has a pattern here. They use these lower stakes competitions to develop younger talent, give them international experience, and save the veterans for when it actually matters. So when you're looking at who's likely to show up in Puerto Rico, you're not getting Brianna Stewart. You're probably not getting Sabrina Ionescu. Aja Wilson is injured anyway. Chelsea Gray might want to play because she's transitioning her entire game right now, moving away from point guard to basically playing small ball power forward, which is a completely different role for her at this stage of her career.
Chelsea Gray is now like, she's not the point guard anymore. She's not a point guard anymore. She doesn't play point guard anymore. She plays realistically a small forward, power forward position. And that is, again, like, even being like generous, we're saying that she plays small forward. Like, she plays an incredible amount of power forward, which again is completely fine.
But Caitlin needs these reps. Paige absolutely wants to play. Angel Reese needs to get back into rhythm coming into the WNBA season. These are the players who benefit most from a qualifying tournament right after the Unrivaled season wraps up. And FIBA isn't stupid. They're not going to hype up Haley Van Lith or some fringe roster candidate who might not even make the final cut. When a brand with that much money invested in women's basketball puts two names front and center, those names are guaranteed. Maybe there's a 1% chance they don't make it, and that 1% is injury or Nike telling Caitlin she needs to do a shoe launch event instead.
FIBA is not going to post this for nothing. They're not going to post this for no reason. There absolutely is some truth to this and some validity to saying that they're going to be on the team, and we all know that. Like, they're not going to put in a player who has any chance of not making a team. It's not like they're going to go and start hyping up Kiki or Fan, or if for some reason HVL was invited to the.
And speaking of Nike, the expectation around the league is that this qualifying tournament is going to be the debut of Caitlin's signature sneaker. Not an official unveiling with a press conference and a marketing campaign, but are actually wearing them in competition for the first time. That's the kind of organic launch moment that brands dream about. International stage, Team USA jersey, high-stakes basketball, and millions of people watching who normally wouldn't tune in to a FIBA qualifying tournament because, let's be completely honest here, this is going to be the most watched qualifying tournament in the history of basketball. Not WNBA history, not women's basketball history, period.
Oh, it's going to be Caitlin and Paige are competing for point guard. Reality is they should be starting 1 and 2. They play different positions, they play different styles. From every clip that we saw of them playing together and playing against each other, Paige did not seem to play 1 minute of like point guard at Team USA camp. It did not seem like she played 1 minute of point guard. It looked like Caitlin and Jackie Young were on seemed to be on one team, and Chelsea Gray and Paige were on the other team, with Chelsea Gray still playing to one, even though she hasn't played it.
Now, there's one annoying wrinkle. Courtside 1891 might have the streaming rights, which means you might have to pay to watch these games. It's frustrating, but it's also kind of inevitable when you're dealing with FIBA competitions and international broadcasting rights. The good news is that enough people are going to pay for it that the viewership numbers are still going to be massive. This isn't some obscure tournament anymore. You've got the biggest name in women's basketball. You've got Paige Bueckers, who's about to enter the WNBA as potentially the #1 pick, and you've got a fan base that's been starving for this matchup since college.
Putting up shooting tour dates on a game-by-game basis. On a game-by-game basis, she was shooting tour dates. But yeah, obviously, they want to. FIBA want to hype up this tournament, and by the way, this will be the most watched. I think we all should be in agreement that this will be the most watched qualifying tournament ever. It will be the most watched qualifying tournament in the history of basketball. And like, I'm somebody that paid. The only thing is it's going to be annoying is there's a possibility you're going to have to pay for courtside.
But here's where things get complicated. The WNBA schedule just got released, and players are not happy. There's real tension building around whether the season is even going to start on time, because the collective bargaining situation is messy right now. Some players are talking about sitting out. Some are making noise on social media about the lack of respect and how the schedule was put together, and the reality is, there's going to be a season. Let's just be completely realistic about this. There are too many players making life-changing money now, money they would never see otherwise, for them to actually walk away from the table. The leverage just isn't there the way some people think it is.
The players are not going to turn down. The players, they will keep going. They will keep going until it's a case where, like, they could even delay the season by a week, for all we know. For all we know, they could delay the season by a week, because there's going to be a season. There are too many players making literally more money than they would ever make otherwise. There are just too many players in that position for them to say that they're going to walk. It's just unfortunate for the players. Obviously,
could they delay the season by a week to sort out some of these issues? Sure, that's possible. But a full work stoppage? Not happening. Too many players have too much to lose. And while the veterans might have some leverage because of their name recognition, the younger players who are finally getting real salaries and real opportunities aren't going to throw that away over scheduling complaints. So the season will happen, the USA basketball qualifying tournament will happen, and Caitlin and Paige are going to be on that roster unless something catastrophic happens in the next 2 weeks.
Go and play. Do you guys think that these players are going to, still sit out of the season, or what they're going to do? Because I still think, I think at the end of the day, Paige and Caitlin are guarantees to make this team. I think they're guarantees to make it. Like, if there was even a 5%, if there's even a 2% chance of them not making it, and if you see the team get announced and either of their names are off it, they're injured. Or they're like, Nike or something said, nope, you're not playing for Caitlin. Nope, not Caitlin, you gotta go.
Think about what this means for the broader landscape of women's basketball right now. You've got Unrivaled wrapping up, which has been this experimental 3-on-3 league that's generated real buzz and given players later revenue stream. Then you immediately roll into USA basketball qualifiers with the biggest names in the sport. Then free agency hits, then the WNBA season starts, assuming the CBA situation gets resolved. And all of this is happening in a compressed timeline that's going to test how much these players can physically handle while also navigating business decisions, endorsement obligations, and media responsibilities. The FIBA announcement isn't just marketing. It's a signal about where the power is shifting in women's basketball. Brands are now making roster announcements before USA Basketball does officially. That tells you who's really driving the conversation. It's not the federation. It's not the league. It's the players with the biggest platforms and the companies that have invested in them. And when you look at the starting lineup that Team USA is likely to roll out in Puerto Rico, it's probably going to be Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young at the guard spots, Kelsey Plum at the wing, Brianna Stewart if she decides to play, and Asia Wilson if she's healthy. But here's the thing about Team USA. They have this loyalty pattern where they keep starting players even when those players aren't performing at their best. Jewel Lloyd got starts in 2024 during a stretch where she was legitimately one of the worst players in the WNBA, shooting in the low 30s on a game-by-game basis. That's not bad for Jewel Lloyd, that's just bad, period. But she kept getting minutes because of the history and the relationship with the coaching staff. So if Caitlin comes off the bench, it's not going to be because she's not good enough to start. It's going to be because Chelsea Gray has seniority, even though Chelsea doesn't really play point guard anymore. She's transitioned into this small ball forward role, where she's still an elite shot maker, but she's not running the offense the way she used to. And that creates an interesting dynamic, because Caitlin and Paige don't even play the same position. They shouldn't be competing for the same spot. Caitlin is a 1, Paige is a 2. They played together at Team USA camp, and from every clip that came out of those sessions, Paige didn't play a single minute of point guard. She was always paired with either Caitlin or Chelsea, and she was functioning as an off-ball scorer and secondary playmaker. The smart lineup is Caitlin and Paige together in the backcourt, with Kelsey Plum or Jackie Young sliding to the wing. That's the lineup that maximizes talent and gives you the most offensive firepower. But Team USA doesn't always make the smart decision. They make the loyal decision. And that's why you might see Chelsea Gray starting even though she's not the best point guard on the roster anymore. What makes this qualifying tournament so fascinating is that it's a low-pressure environment where they can actually experiment. They can try different combinations. They can see how Caitlin and Paige work together in a real game setting, with international rules and physical defense. They can give Angel Reese extended minutes to see if she can translate her rebounding dominance to the international game. And they can do all of this without the pressure of a World Cup or Olympics on the line. Because qualifying tournaments are basically formalities for Team USA. They're going to qualify. The question is just how they're going to use these games to prepare for the competitions that actually matter. And for Caitlin specifically, this is huge. She missed the Olympics. She didn't get selected for the Paris roster, which was controversial at the time and looks even more questionable now, given how dominant she was in her rookie WNBA season. So this is her first real opportunity to prove that she belongs on the international stage, that she can handle the physicality and the different style of play, and that she's not just a college star or a WNBA rookie, but a legitimate Team USA player for the next decade. Paige is in a similar position, but for different reasons. She's coming off injuries that derailed parts of her college career. She's about to enter the WNBA draft as one of the most hyped prospects in years, and she needs to show that she's healthy, that she's ready, and that she can compete at the highest level after spending time rehabbing instead of playing. This qualifying tournament is her audition for the next phase of her career, and she's gonna have something to prove. The timing of all this, coming right after Unrivaled and right before WNBA free agency, creates this perfect storm of storylines. Players are exhausted. They're navigating contract negotiations. They're dealing with the uncertainty of whether the season is even going to start on time. And now they're being asked to commit to an international tournament in Puerto Rico with less than 3 weeks' notice. Some players are going to say no, some are going to prioritize rest, some are going to prioritize their WNBA situation. But the young players, the ones who are hungry and trying to establish themselves, they're going to say yes. And that's why this roster is going to be heavy on youth and light on veterans. So when you see that Phoebe post with Caitlin and Paige, understand what it's really saying. It's saying these are the faces of USA basketball for the next generation. It's saying the old guard is stepping aside, whether they want to or not. And it's saying that the brands have figured out who's worth investing in, who's going to drive viewership, and who's going to sell shoes. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's about building the future of women's basketball around players who can transcend the sport and become cultural icons. And if you're asking whether Caitlin and Paige are guaranteed to make this team, the answer is yes. Unless one of them gets injured in the next 2 weeks, they're on that plane to Puerto Rico. Phoebe doesn't make that post unless it's a done deal. USA Basketball doesn't let a major sponsor announce their roster unless the decisions are already locked in. So yeah, it's happened March 11th through 17th. San Juan, Puerto Rico, the most watched qualifying tournament in basketball history, and the official beginning of Caitlin, Clark and Paige Bueckers as the future of Team USA.